Hello, I'm Lena Klein, and in this video we're going to draw a werewolf, and they're super scary, but they're super fun to draw. It's filmed one-on-one, so I hope you will join me in drawing this magnificent animal. Here you see the werewolf as I've studied it already, and what stands out the most is the open mouth, and there's a lot of shadow going on inside of the mouth, and also the background will be drawn in real dark. What I will use for this drawing, what we are going to do, is compressed charcoals. Those are darker than your standard coal, and it works really nice when you use a paper that is not white. In this case I will use a paper that is grayish, brownish grayish, and it's kind of rough, so the Siberian coal is really attaching to it. In this drawing I will use a pastel pencil, an eraser pencil, and my Siberian coal. It's a compressed coal, and I use it also for the setup. When I start out my drawing, I will first position the teeth. When you look closely, and maybe you have a dog at home or a cat, you can see that they have two long fangs and there are smaller teeth. I place them all in. Then I decide the wideness in which the mouth is opened. There are some wrinkles in the mouth, and then I head down to the lower jaw. In the lower jaw there are also two large fangs, and of course the small teeth, the front teeth that are quite small in comparison to the long fangs that are in the top and the bottom cheek. All these teeth are placed into the gum. So I also put in little lines for the gum, and then from the gum down to the wrinkles that are alongside the mouth. Then I put in the nostril, the openings of the nostrils, and I place them in quite dark. Then I can decide where the tip of the nose is. On the nose bridge there are also a lot of wrinkles, because his mouth is opening real wide and he is growling. There are all kinds of wrinkles. I also place in the right shoulder, his right shoulder. Here on the side you can just see the tip of the eye that is on the outside of the werewolf, and I also place in the position of the eye that is looking towards the moon that we will be drawing in later. The eye is quite round, and the pupil will be placed just beside, on the left side of the eyeball itself, and around the eye there are a lot of wrinkles also going on. Then I keep my charcoal or my Siberian charcoal a bit flat, and with the flat position I can draw in a little bit of hair. And what is also very important are the pointed ears. They are very typical for a werewolf. The inside of the ear is quite dark. And then from the ears down and alongside the head there are those rough hairs. They are greasy and they're not nice, so I also put those in. And also the back teeth, because the mouth is real wide open. You can also see the back teeth. Once you have the opening of the mouth, you can also place in the tongue. I think that's an important detail with the open mouth of this werewolf. You can see I'm drawing in real time, so I hope you can follow it. And now we are in the back of the mouth. You can see the inner side of the side of the mouth, and also underneath the tongue there is some shadow. It gives it a dynamic open mouth. Underneath the chin, I make the hairs look real dark. This way, the chin really stands out from the rest of the body. Behind the ear, I also make the hairs look really dark, so that the ear stands out even more. Then I place some lines for the hairs, and I also need extra attention for the top lip. From this top lips there are also wrinkles, because he's really opening his mouth and he's kind of growling. I also make every little tooth stand by themselves one by one. For the background, I position my Siberian charcoal flat, and I darken this in all the way down. I carefully color around the fangs, and then I will create a dark sky. Now I get a great picture of what is lighter and what is darker. I need this for the rest of the processing of this drawing. Once you've done that, you take a little bit of cotton or a dry cloth, and then you rub in the dark coal that is lying on top of the paper. I want to rub this in so it really attaches, and I need that also for the processing when I will be working my way up into this drawing with my pencil eraser. So rub it in kind of carefully. Do not rub everything so that a piece of your drawing is left over. Then I pick my eraser. What I now do is I start erasing everything that hits the light. So inside the eyeball, all the teeth and the wrinkles around the mouth, and some shiny bits on the tongue. I all erase these out. What you can see now happening is that you lift up the parts that are really important. I simply keep erasing the important parts, and I keep blowing away because there's a lot of rubble coming from your eraser. So I keep erasing and I blow away the rubble that comes out of it. You can make the wrinkles stand out simply by erasing the parts that in my imagination is the moonlight that is shining on my werewolf. You can also use this on the hairs of the werewolf. The hairs are really rugged and they are greasy and they're not nice, and I simply use the same eraser to pick out those hairs that are so rough and sturdy. Also the tip of the ear. I've forwarded the time now a little bit, so it's now about 2 times as fast as I would actually draw. But you can still see the picture. But I really take special attention that I do not make my werewolf all too white. Only the tips of the hair, only the parts that hit the light, I simply draw out. Because we've been rubbing and erasing, I pick out my Siberian charcoal again, and then I go over the parts that needs extra darkness. So that's the space around the eyes and the shadows between the wrinkles, and also the parts of the hairs. These simple lines makes the hair look even more harsh. And again, you can make this as detailed as you want. I also pay extra attention for where the tooth are inside of the gum, and the wrinkles, of course, plus the wrinkle inside of the tongue and the inner side of the mouth. That needs to be extra dark. If your kohl is laying too much up on your paper, you can always rub it in a little bit again. Before we start with the pastel, I still want to add a little bit more detail. That's the dribbling saliva that's coming from the mouth. I just thought that it would be extra nice and extra scary to make that dribbling saliva that's coming from the tooth and from the mouth. So I simply draw straight lines that hang down from the side of the mouth. Just a little bit of more detail, and you need also to erase parts that you want to draw in with the pastel. Now I have this pastel. It's a pure white, and now I go over all the parts that needs to be extra white. You cannot reach that with the eraser because the paper itself is grayish brown. So now I can use the white pastel for the parts that are especially white. It's actually the fun part. All the bits that are moist and all the bits that are hit by the moonlight, I want to stand out extra. So I really need the white of the pastel. Also the dribbly lines are drawn in with the pastel. Here, on top of the eye, I also use, oops, it breaks easily, it's very soft. And for the shiny part on the nose, on the eye, I color those in with the white pastel. I also use that for the hairs that are alongside of the head and for the tip of the ears, of course. What also is a fun detail is the moon. A werewolf and a moon are almost inseparable. So I simply draw a circle and I render this in with the pastel, pencil, pastel. It's hard for me sometimes to talk in English, but it's a pastel pencil, and I simply draw in a circle. And for the top of the moon, I erase a little line and then I pull out the white again. Just to give it that extra touch. Now the moon itself has a lot of shadows. So it's not all white by itself, but it has a lot of shadows. And drawing a moon, well, that's a study apart, because, well, there are a lot of things going on in the moon. But I keep this one real simple. Just a suggestion of the moon. And then I take my black Siberian coal again to make the sky behind the moon extra dark. You can imagine that it's a clear night and it's a full moon and it's the werewolf that's coming out, and well, I wanted it to be as scary as possible. So that's why I've drawn the open mouth and the dark sky. And I think it's really working together. For so far, the black and white part of this study. But for people that want to give it a little bit of more of attention, I will do some coloring. Now, coloring is something that I do now and then. And, well, I just wanted to show you that now and then I do try it. And I'm really careful about it, because I do not want to make my drawing look like kitsch or cheapies, so I used a little bit of color. For instance, on the bottom of the eye, I like to believe that werewolves have yellowish eyes. And for instance, for the gum, I use a little bit of red. It's not red, but it's kind of pastelish light red. I only draw in a little bit of lines, so I do not make it red all the way around, but only small touches. I put a little bit inside of the nose and a little bit around the eyes. just a touch. Once you do that, you have to look over your white parts again, because you still want the white parts to stand out. It just has to keep working together. Here where the moon hits the forehead, the counter light that's on the other side of the wolf. I just check them all out again. Now I take a pinkish red. It's just a little bit different red than the other red. And now those reds work together again. For the hairs, I use a burnt sienna. It's brownish, orange-ish brownish, and that I can use for the hairs. As you can see, I only use it here and there. Just a little touch of it. Now the inside of the mouth looks not quite dark enough, so then I go over that again. That's where the parts where the moon really doesn't shine. I draw them out extra dark. And even though I've only used just a little bit of color, it's already enough in my eyes. Maybe you want more color in your drawing, you can do that. But you have to keep in mind that this werewolf is really in the dark. So the more dark it is, the less color you will see. So I try to use as little as possible. Now that the eye is as yellow as it is, I also put a little bit of yellow into the moon. So far my study, and I hope you enjoyed it a lot, and I hope to see you again in my other videos. I will call it a day for now, and I wish you take care always, and see you in my next movie.